Okay. Exciting. Oh, wow. All right. Well, I'm so happy to talk to you. I want to hear about your adventures. So, first of all, maybe introduce yourself so folks know who you are and where you are right
Okay.
now.
I'm Juliet Harris, but call me Juju. Right now I am in Biella, Italy, in the Piemonte. So I'm about 2 hours north of Milan at the
Mm.
foot of the Alps.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
So,
I'm on a goat farm.
on a goat farm. All right.
But let me give you a little view of where I am. Can I do that?
Oh, yeah.
A little.
Okay.
So
Oh,
this
wow.
house was built in sometime in the 1600s,
Mm-hmm.
and Mickey's
Wow.
owned it probably for maybe 15 years or so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was
Oh,
a
wow.
goat herder, shepherd up in the mountains, and he
Oh,
wanted to be closer to the city.
wow. Mm-hmm.
And then his wife Hannah came here as a workaway um, 7 years ago, and she also had the Heidi dream of being around goats, and so that's
Uh-huh.
how they met.
So tell us what chapter in life are you in? Are you retired? Are you on a sabbatical? Are you in a career break? What chapter are you in?
So I'm considering this my gap year,
Hmm.
um, my like middle age gap year. I don't feel like I'm having a crisis or anything,
Yeah.
but I've been wanting to take what I call a crone journey for a very long time since I just started getting older.
Hmm.
And I actually love getting older, I must say. And I just felt like it was just time for me to just kind of give myself a little bit more space. Yeah. Last year I took the year off because my mother was in hospice, so I took time to take care of her the last few months of her life.
Hmm.
And then later that year, one of my former nanny clients texted me and said, "Are you vaccinated?" I said, "Yes, I am. Where are we going and for how long?" And she said, "Oh, my mom graduated from nursing school, so I want to take her to Rome for a trip, and I want to take the kids and have you come along and take care of our children." And so I said, "Great, just drop me off after you're done with me." Because I've been trying to get to Italy since I was 13.
Mm.
And I enjoyed it. I was here for a month last year at this farm for a month because I've had, I call it the Heidi dream since I was a kid, wanted to be
Mm.
around goats. And then I house sat in a different part of Italy in La Marche for a
Hmm.
month. And it was just so wonderful. I just wanted to come back. I just feel like my kids are 18 and 22, and they have their own lives now, so they don't need me in the same capacity.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, you know what, I want to do this for myself. I don't want to, you know, not that I'm a fatalist, but I think taking care of my mom really just made me kind of more aware of my own aging.
Yeah.
And one day I was there and I just looked at myself and I was at her house real tired. I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, I'm almost 60 years old and I haven't done what I really want to do in some
Mm.
way. And what
Hmm.
I've always wanted to do is just kind of travel freely. So I decided to just launch myself. And what started off as a 3 month trip to Italy has now expanded into possibly a 9 month trip.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
just keep adding things on.
Yay. I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad that you just like are able to take that pause and to go ahead and live the dream that you've had for so long, you
Yeah.
know? The
Yeah.
Heidi dream and the goat the goat dream. Wait, what is
Yeah.
he? Are you Capricorn? Like who dreams of hanging out with goats?
No, no, I'm Scorpio.
Oh,
But
okay.
when I was little, I read Heidi just obsessively. Just one day I want to go to Switzerland and eat with
Mhm.
goats, blah blah. And then when I was 13, I met this really gorgeous young Italian man, and I was like, oh well, now I want to go to Italy.
Mhm.
And then just like as I kind of developed as a cook, I got more dialed into Italian food and like the slow food movement and all that stuff, eating off the land and very
Mhm.
simply. So this has
Mhm.
just been my focus of the first place I wanted to come.
Mm. So how did you find the goat farm? Like how did you get there?
Sure. So WOOFing stands for Worldwide Organization of Organic Farms, and nearly every country has a chapter. So I joined the Wolf Italia chapter, and it's about $35 for a year. And then if you get placed or if you choose a farm to be at, it covers insurance. So the woofer host provides board, bed and board, and the woofer it works 4 to 5 hours a day, depending on their need.
Hmm.
And in some cases, you end up working longer hours. So like I'm looking at woofing in Greece on a farm picking olives in November.
Hmm.
So they say, it may, depending on the weather, you may work 8 to 10 hours a day because rain is forecast.
Hmm.
So it's pretty flexible. And you can choose a farm based on your interest. So for me, it was specifically goats, but they have sustainable agriculture or ancient grains. Some of them are like a bed and breakfast. That looks really interesting to learn how to cook real Italian food.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, or dairy, winemaking. I've also looked at picking grapes and
Hmm.
learning the wine process.
Hmm.
Olives. Yeah, I'm going to learn the olive process when I go to Greece. So
Mm.
yeah, it's a fantastic way to, and it's national too. I actually looked at a goat farm in New York last year
Uh-huh.
to go woof there.
Mm. I love that you use your obsession with goats to figure out where you're going to be. I think that's great. I think that people have these weird things. Like I have an obsession with ceramic tiles, and I love so I was drawn to places that had beautiful tiles.
Mm,
Mexico, Portugal, Morocco. Places that
mm,
have those that I don't know something about it, and you can't explain it away. Just it's like it's a
mm.
nice way to get an entry into a new culture, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me sort of what the path of your year is going to look like the rest of your year. I know you're going to different places with Woof,
Yeah,
Workaway, and visiting
yeah.
friends.
And trusted house sitters.
Mm.
So I mean, originally this started off as a 3 month trip here to Italy. And I gotta just interject here. I haven't really told like the major piece to my husband. It's just a conversation we really need to have. But all my girlfriends know I have no plans on coming back in 3 months. But so I'm gonna be here for let's see, 3 weeks. Actually, I came here a week and a half ago. So I landed in Milan and I met Hannah, who is Belgian. I met her in the airport and we flew to Antwerp and we stayed and I met her family there.
Mhm.
We were there for a week and we went to Amsterdam on a day trip. So now I'm at the farm and primarily this year I'll be working in the garden
Are there
because it's
goat bells behind you?
yeah, that's goats. Can you see them down there? There's
Oh
the herd.
wow. Oh wait, should keep it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the sound. Okay. And they're just
yeah.
roaming around. Oh my god.
Well, Hana's out here with them. So the goats come
Okay.
out for about 2 hours a day. During the kind of cooler weather, they come out in the evenings, and then the
Mhm.
hot weather, they go out early in the morning. And then if there's a storm, they eat hay, and then they also give them some kind of cereal and legume mix, and that helps them produce more milk.
Hmm.
So Mickey, the farmer, he's a master cheesemaker. He's won
Oh.
award for his cheese. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yum.
Um, yeah. So I'll be here another few weeks. So yeah, I'm gonna help him do the garden because he's just been um there's just always so much work to do on a farm. And
Yeah.
then Hannah was gone for 10 days to Belgium. And then the other thing we're gonna do is there's about 5 years worth of old goat manure that's just it's composted,
Hmm.
but the stable needs to be cleaned out. So we're going to be digging through archaeological layers of goat poop and hauling that out and dumping that down the hillside or into a compost pile.
You
So
really
that'll
have
be
to
fun.
love goats to do that, I think.
Yeah, well, I really enjoy hard work. I mean, I'm a
Mm.
gardener at home and I love
Mm.
physical work. And this year I didn't put any effort into my own garden since I knew I'd be gone. So and then this place for me, their family. And so this is home for me. So I feel like, oh, I'm doing my garden too.
Hmm.
So then I will go to, oh, there's actually, Shanice. She's in Florence, and she said, "Hey, come see me." So I'm gonna try to connect with her in Florence for a
Nice.
couple of days.
Nice.
Then I have a 3 week house sit in Toronto, north of Rome.
Oh, I thought you
Um,
said first. I thought you said Toronto, but it's Tirano.
Toronto,
Tor-
Tarano. It's like
Toronto.
yeah, it's about an hour north of Rome. And the home is owned by a couple from the UK, and they produce olive oil.
Mm.
So their farm is Sabina Hills Olive, I believe it's called.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and then yeah, and that's really cool. They have about 22 acres and a swimming pool and a couple of dogs. So yeah, those days are going to be spent, chilling. No, actually, I have some work to do because I'm getting my TEFL certificate teaching
Mhm.
English as a foreign language.
Mhm.
So that'll be good because then I can really focus on my studies and
Mm.
working to get my certificate before. My goal is to get it before the end of summer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then after that, and actually Mickey and Hannah might come visit me. That would be lovely. So give them a little vacation from the farm.
Mm.
Then I'm going to La Marque, which is on the eastern part of the country. And that's
Mhm.
where I housed it last year for a month. So I have friends there now, which is awesome because,
Mm.
it's nice to have a connection.
Yeah.
So I'll be there for about 5 days.
Mhm. And you're
Then
house sitting again, or just visiting friends there?
no, no, this time I'm visiting.
Mm.
So the
Mhm.
lady I housed that for last time, she was so considerate. My first night there, she did a meet and greet for me
Oh
and introduced
wow.
me to her friends. So she's from the UK, so she introduced me to her friends. There's a
Mhm.
couple of British people, some Americans, and then there was actually another couple there from the States who were house sitting for a friend of hers, and they're
Mhm.
actually kind of my inspiration, Eva and Rose, because they are just wandering the world and working.
Mm.
They're both professors, so she's taking a sabbatical to write a book, and he's teaching online now. So they've just been traveling since the beginning of 2020.
Mm.
So I'm like, hey, well, I want to do that too. So I'll go see, my friends in Laura Pacino. Then I just got a workaway position, basically like a companion to a young woman. And she lives in the city, and her husband spends most of the time out at the farm outside the city, and they
Mhm.
have a daughter. So she wanted someone to be with her daughter during the day while she's working. So this would
Mhm.
be about 4 hours in the morning, and
Mhm.
then in the afternoon, hanging out with Anna and improving my Italian, and she wants to improve her English. So that's cultural language exchange and
Mhm.
going around. So that's going to be in Abruzzo. Then okay, I've got so many places.
This
then
is
I'm going to
incredible.
then I'm going to Croatia,
Mm.
because I'm a big Game of Thrones head, but I didn't want to go into the madness, around
Mhm.
Dubrovnik and
Mhm.
stuff, where all of us end up eventually at King's Landing. So I'm going to go up north, to a place called, I don't know if it's pronounced Slunge or Slunge. It's in the
Smooch.
northern part of the country.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm going to work on a farm there. It's a place that was abandoned for a while. So this couple is bringing it back to life. So at the Workaway, that's only 4 hours. So then I'll have time in the afternoons to wander around in the forest or go swim in the river or whatever. And I'm looking at doing maybe 2 months in Croatia because,
Mhm.
because of the Schengen thing,
Mhm.
unfortunately, we can only stay for 3 months.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to get out of Italy. Otherwise, I'd stay here
Yeah.
indefinitely.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking of doing another month in Croatia. So I'm looking at some other. I might even extend because this couple at the farm, they're open to having people stay longer terms,
Mhm.
and that's pretty common for woofing and workaways. Is for
Mhm.
people to like it so much they just end up staying longer.
Mm, okay.
So maybe doing another month in Croatia. But I've also in contact with the guy in Croatia who lives in Istria,
Mhm.
who he's a single dad and he has a daughter who has autism, so he's looking for kind
Mhm.
of a companion for her,
Mhm.
and it's by the water. So I'm like, hey, I can do that.
Mm.
Then after that, going to Istanbul. I have a friend who's going to be there studying Arabic for just about a year. So I'm going to go to Istanbul. Why not? Because it's right there. And when I go there, I'm going to take a train because I like adventure, and, it gives you more opportunity to meet people kind
Yeah.
of on a deeper level if you're
Mhm.
taking a bus or a train, I think, than if you're on a quick flight.
Yeah.
So go to Istanbul. And then I'll have completed my 3 months out of the Schengen zone, so I'll be eligible to come back in. So that's why I was looking at olive picking in Greece
Hmm.
for a couple of months. Um, and then I have this other like fantasy is I've always wanted to go to rent a small cottage in a little seaside village in the winter and write a book because in my head I'm a novelist, right? So now I'm looking at the UK because there's a lot of people. I guess those people head south for the winter. So
Hmm.
I'm looking at going to some little seaside village in the UK for a couple of months.
Well,
And then
I would like
eventually
to
I'll
read whatever book you write because you have conjured up quite an adventure for yourself.
Yeah, well, the book I want to write is it's my memoirs, and I call it "There's No Place Like Home." Thank God. So it's
Mm,
more just for giggles for myself. But I do, I really do feel like this is just my time to kind of roll around. Because I have the rest of my life to live a typical life in Maryland. You know,
mm, mm,
I don't have to stay in Maryland, but it's kind of where we are. My husband's very settled there.
mm-hmm,
My husband's from Paraguay.
mm-hmm.
So actually, he had an idea of retiring to Paraguay, which I refused to do. I said, "You can retire to Paraguay, and I'll teach you."
You don't like
But
Paraguay?
well, I was there in Peace Corps. That's where I met him
Mm-hmm,
in '96, and so we ended up living out in the Campo in the countryside in a little slap board house that he'd built because he's also a carpenter.
mm-hmm.
No electricity, no lights, no running water, no, I mean, the dirt floor.
But
I
you
was
had
cooking on.
love.
Yes, girl, and that was it. I mean, my friend said, actually, yeah, she said, you must have been in love because I would not have put up with that. I'm like, well, that's because you're bougie,
Also,
no,
because you were in the Peace Corps, so it's not like that would be super new for you.
no, and I mean, also too, I mean, I've read so many things. I think that I was maybe born in the wrong century because
Mm,
I read a lot of Laura Ingalls and about homesteading and
mm-hmm.
building your own home. So
Yeah.
that always really interested me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But
Yeah.
when I got down there and saw the reality of that kind of work, I was like, well, this isn't quite for me because people
Mm-hmm.
really romanticize farming and building your own
Mm-hmm.
home. It's really hard work. I
Yeah.
really admire people who do that.
Yeah. And it's kind of
Yeah,
like you don't get a break.
there's no break. Like these guys, for example, if they want to go away, they have to find someone who knows goats to come and take care of
Mm-hmm.
their goats.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you just, drop them off at goat babysitters
Right.
and roll out.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been an adventurer for a long time.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just always felt like there was something else out there. I just, it's not like I was so unhappy where I was because I grew up in Oakland, which is a great place. I mean, California is amazing. Everything is there. But
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like I would be limiting myself if I stayed still. So the first thing I did, I joined California Conservation Corps when I was 19, 18.
Mm-hmm.
And they send you someplace which is opposite of where you grew up. So the people who grew up in the sticks of California got sent to like LA and San Francisco. And me being from Oakland, I got sent way up to the border, just past Humboldt in where the redwoods are. And it was beautiful. And I said, oh, this that sparked my love of going places. And then at another point, I went to Sweden because I had a friend who was in the States as an au pair.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, yeah, my family's interested in having you come and stay with them and practicing English. So I went to Sweden, like way north, like 6 hours north of Stockholm, and stayed with the family for a few months.
In
And
the
that was
summer, I
amazing.
hope. In the
Yeah, in
summer.
the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, because oh man, no, I'm not a snowbird. And that was amazing because I mean, I take sunshine for granted being from the Bay Area,
Mm,
but to be in a place where it didn't really get dark, it just got dim for a couple
mm-hmm.
hours, and then the
Mm-hmm.
sun's back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, did that, and then let's see, where else have I been? Oh, I went to Ghana for a couple of weeks. My best friend was there working, and so went to hang out with her. And she introduced me to a lot of the expats, but I was more interested in like how do the people live, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time like talking to the people who are the domestic workers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's your take on it? And
Mm-hmm.
went to Elmina Slave Castle, which I gotta say that was like the most significant. moment of my life was going there
Hmm.
because, if after so many years of it being, empty, it's still very full. Like I could feel people's presence there.
Hmm.
And, thinking like if our people could come through that, I mean, and I didn't know how far people had been brought from the hinterlands, from the inner, the interior of Africa to the
Hmm.
coast,
Yeah.
through going all of that and then being in the dungeon and then being in the ship, and we're still here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. It made me so proud to be African American. Just
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah. The resilience of just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then I've done some, national, or I guess not national, but domestic travel. Like, I've been to Atlanta, have a really dear friend there. I've been in New York. I've driven cross country twice, which was super fun. So the next time I go, I need to go the northern route. I've never
Hmm.
gone that way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. So I've been looking at woofing and workaways, but I'm just curious, like if for someone who wants to do their first woofing experience or their first workaway, um, how do you know that a place is good? Like you read the reviews, and do you have like a phone call or a video chat with the host before you go? And what kind of questions do
Yeah.
you ask?
Well, I do. I look at reviews. I mean, I've looked at a couple of places that were interesting that didn't have reviews. And I was like, well, maybe there's such a new farm or whatever, just no one's chosen them yet. Maybe that's it. And there's also, basically 2 years of COVID where
Yeah.
people weren't thing.
Hmm.
And also really highly trust my instincts. Like if I get a good feeling from it, like, oh, this looks like a place that would be okay.
Hmm.
And then you send a contact, you email the person about your interest. So for both Workaway and woofing, you have to write a profile about who you are and your interests and your experience. So then you send them a letter to them, a message about why you're interested, and they look at your profile and see if they want to check you out. And then generally it's like a Zoom call. Now we have Zoom. So it's a Zoom call or a phone call. And that's for me, I've had really good experiences just meeting people. And even with the house that I'm doing for next in July, I didn't have a Zoom. I haven't even spoken with her. We just emailed, but we just got a good feeling from
Uh-huh.
each other. So I just trust that.
Yeah.
But like some questions, like especially I'd say for woofing, really clarifying what kind of work you'll be doing. Like I've seen some woofing things like, okay, when I say it's gonna be hard work, I mean you're gonna be clearing branches with thorns and you're gonna be, on a slope and it's very rainy here. Or like some places we have pets. Like you have one of them um actually it's one of the ones I'm really considering. It says you have to be comfortable with insects and wildlife, or asking what kind of place will I be sleeping. So some places you sleep in a tent and they'll provide the tent and the sleeping bag. Some place you bring it yourself. Other places you sleep in like a little camper. Like here at Mickey and Hannah's house, I have a bedroom, a bathroom, there's running water. But
Yeah.
I mean, I just looked at one yesterday where it's like, oh, a little hassle there. One I looked at yesterday where it's on an island in Greece. They have a raw food diet only. He said if you want something hot, you can make tea, you know, like solar energy. Some of them are like you got to be comfortable with nudity, or it depends. I gotta do what you're most comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like I say, challenge yourself if that's what you're looking for, but definitely don't put yourself in a situation where you feel threatened. And that's
Right.
also one of the good things about woofing and workaway, is when you get there and you just don't feel it, you can leave.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just say this isn't
This isn't
working, or they
right.
or they may ask you to leave if they just feel like you're not appropriate for what they need.
Okay. So it's good to be. You have to be flexible, and you have to sort of know that Plan B may come into effect.
For
Just
sure.
hoping for the
Yeah.
best, but having a Plan B.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
also too, like you can when you're searching for a place, like on Workaway they have it. You can say I need a place that has high speed internet, or that
Hmm.
has, no smoking or no pets or no children or whatever your particular thing
Right.
is, where you feel like you'll be comfortable.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
So it seems like you're not the kind of person who needs to have everything planned out in advance.
No,
Yeah.
no. Like maybe I'll do this. That's not gonna work.
Have you always been like that, or is that something new?
No, it's pretty spontaneous always, because
Mm,
these things
mm,
change at a moment's notice, or my feelings, my mood might change, or the
mm-hmm,
situation. It
mm-hmm,
can't be locked into anything, and I think that's one of the best characteristic, I think, maybe of a successful traveler, is the ability to be flexible. You might
mm-hmm.
miss a train, it's like, okay, so we missed the last train, so are we gonna sleep in this bus station?
Right.
Or are we gonna try to, find a hotel, or, you
Mm,
know, yeah.
right. Right. All right. So you are having an amazing summer.
Yes.
Your
In
husband doesn't
fall
quite,
and possibly winter.
okay, and your husband doesn't quite know the extent of this 3 month break that's
mentioned,
stretching.
yeah, I mentioned something briefly. I just said, "Oh yeah, I'm looking at some things for later in the year in Greece," and then it's like there was just kind of a silence. But also, this is one of the things. It's like, before we got married, I told him, I said, when I was younger, I never took the opportunity to travel and see the world and explore and experience and investigate stuff, and I know that's part of who I am.
Mm-hmm,
And so at some point during our relationship, I'm going to have to leave.
mm-hmm,
So, and it won't mean I want a divorce. It won't mean I don't love you. It just means it's really time for me to go, to do that for
mm-hmm,
myself.
mm-hmm,
And I mean, besides loving him, of course, I do love him. But he also said, okay, I'm cool with that, you know. And for
mm-hmm.
him, that's a huge step, because Paraguayan men in general are very controlling.
Mm,
Um, I wouldn't have been with him if he was like that anyway,
right. Right.
you know. And
Wow.
then in November of 2019, I said, it's time. It's time for me to go. Next year is it. And then COVID hit, and then my mom's health started to decline. I was like, well,
Yeah.
crap. And then Italy, the land of my dreams, was slammed. So I said, well, it's
Yeah.
going to come at some point. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Italy. That was rough. That was rough
Mhm.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a friend who asked me, she said, aren't you afraid to do this and go out on your own and wander? And I said, really, I mean, in a lot of ways, I'm very much an optimist, but I'm also very realistic. I said, the sad reality is that most women who are hurt or killed are killed by someone they know, and often in their own home, But I think for me, what would kill myself is if I didn't let myself be myself,
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
I live in, close to DC, which is one of the main targets in America. So I'm like, whatever, I'm out. Bye.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You can die slowly in a life that's not making you happy.
Exactly. And actually, at the beginning of 2020, before COVID hit, I went over a girlfriend's house one day, and I was crying, and I said, I feel like I'm maintaining a life I don't even want anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I clean the house, I work in the garden, I paint the walls, I wash the clothes, but I don't. This isn't what I want. I want to
Yeah.
be out on the road with a backpack,
Yeah.
meeting people and trying different food, and seeing what there is. And
Yeah.
basically, I found that most people are the same. Kind of, no matter where I go, we're basically all the same, but different ways.
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you.
I'm happy for me too.
Ah, the goats, the goat cheese. Ah,
Yeah, and they're wonderful. They're
and
so great.
yeah, and all the people that you get to hang out with and,
Yeah,
and get to
yeah,
know.
like,
Mm,
yeah, it's so cool. Like, I have Mickey and Hannah, and then his mom lives down in the village, and she's lovely. So I've been down, and I've spent days with her, and she
mm.
tells me Mickey's history of their family, and I'm struggling in my East Oakland black girl Italian, and she's so patient with me.
I
Here,
love
let me show you
it.
also more of the yard.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
the garden, like the vegetable garden?
Yep. And
Wow.
so the goats are down just below, grazing in the
Mm,
on the hillside, and they have there's like elderflowers and bamboo and stuff down there. So
All
yeah.
right. I'm feeling like I need to go to Italy this summer.
Oh, you haven't been yet? Oh my gosh. Oh,
Mm, I haven't. I've been through Italy, I guess. I've been
mm,
like touched. I went to Venice for a day. I was driving through. So I haven't
oh
really
yeah.
experienced like being in Italy, really.
Yeah, I mean, also the other thing that kind of fueled the fire was Under the Tuscan Sun, that movie.
Uh-huh. I
And
can't
where
tell
the
you how
war
many times I've watched it. It's embarrassing.
I know a zillion times. And so that was my thing. And then also, they were really promoting the €1 house in
Yeah.
Italy because so many villages are abandoned.
Mhm.
But that was also a good reality check for me last year, meeting Lucy and her friends, and it's like, yeah, well, these houses also need $100,000 or $200,000 worth of work
Yeah.
to get them up to speed, and
Yep.
then also to establish residency here is a whole different thing.
It's
So I just
challenging.
decided, rather than trying to establish residency, I'll just come here like 6 months
Mhm. Mhm.
or something. Yeah.
Right. So, yes, about that. Can we talk about the Schengen? Because my understanding with Schengen was with a U.S. passport, you have X number of days in a 360 period, like 3 months in
You can do
Schengen.
you can do 3 months within a 6 month period.
Oh, 6 months. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I
that's
thought
why
it
I'm
was
going
longer.
to Croatia and
Mm,
Turkey for that
mm.
non-Schengen time, and then
Okay.
rolling back up in here.
I've heard good
Which,
things about Albania. Is that on your radar at all?
yeah, I kind well, the thing is though, it'll be winter, and I'm not a
Mm,
snow person. But I
mm-hmm,
mean, with global warming and stuff, it may not be snowy. Who knows?
mm,
And then also, I like the idea of going someplace that's not super, like super destination.
mm-hmm,
So, like, I even looked at one of the workaways I saw was in Estonia.
mm-hmm.
And this is really good because it helps my I can't even say the word, my geographical knowledge.
Yeah.
Because I had to pull out my map and say, where is that? What is
Mm-hmm,
that next to? What countries do you go through to get there?
mm-hmm,
So this one place is Estonia, this tiny
mm-hmm.
little country, and it was at an abbey with nuns. And so during the summer, you're helping in their garden, helping making jam, and in the winter, you're making soap and candles.
Mm-hmm.
And that said, well, if you're going to do it in the winter, you need to be kind of monastic anyway. I like being alone, but not to that extent.
Yeah, that would be a little rough socially.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that one for summer.
How do you envision your life once if this break ever finishes? If you don't, convince your husband to come on some kind of break with you, like how do you think? What I know it's early days still, but sort of, what do you think might happen in terms of life after
Yeah,
this?
well, I mean, hopefully, part of my wandering is trying to get some experience teaching English as a second language, as a foreign language. So doing that when I go back to the States. My like profession is that I'm a culinary educator, and I teach
Mm.
people how to cook well on a budget. That's just so important to me.
Mm.
Well, I mean, what I'm really planning with this is like one day I decide, you know what, I've had enough. I'm ready to go home.
Mm.
That's kind of where I feel like, okay, let me find a plane and get back here.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
but
so
I,
nice.
yeah, and like I said, with my husband, he is wonderful. It's really funny too. The other thing is like, oh, your husband let you come out like this. I'm like, my husband didn't let me do anything. I told my husband from the get go, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Um, and he, I think we've been together for 23 years, almost 24 years. I think our
Mm.
relationship is strong enough to, handle this. Like, and he's
Yeah.
very supportive of like, I want you to be healthy and have a good life.
Yeah.
And the same for me. I'm like, rather than you sit home in Maryland and miss me, go home to Paraguay. Like they have a saying like enjoy today because tomorrow's not coming. And in
Mm-hmm.
a way that's sort of fatalistic. but it's also like be in the moment and
Yeah.
enjoy yourself. And,
Mm.
world life is amazing.
Mm.
It's amazing. It's the greatest gift. Um, and then I'm able to do this also because my mother left me some money. And
Mhm.
so the majority of it I did sock away for, that inevitable older age.
Mhm.
But a piece of it I said, my mom wanted us to do, my mother taught me to do what you want to do.
Mhm.
She's very much her own person. And, and so I just feel like I'm kind of following in a way in her footsteps. Like I'm doing what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you have these relationships with people, but they don't need to be like a shackle. Mm.
No, because the word husband comes from the word housebound,
Ooh.
like
Ooh.
tied to your home, because that's
I
where women were expected to be,
husband,
and
housebound.
yeah, and I was like, no,
Wow.
the world is my home.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nice. So happy. Yeah, this is
yeah,
making me so happy. Just your whole your whole story right now is making me so happy.
yeah. I call it my golden time. I
Mhm.
say my theme song right now is "Golden" by Jill
Yeah.
Scott, and I do. I
Mhm.
feel like this is the great croning, like aging and growing into wisdom. And
Mhm.
I don't know if you ever read The Wisdom of Menopause
I haven't.
by Christian Northrup. Well, she
Mm-mm.
says that when a woman goes through menopause or is postmenopausal, it's like her second awakening, like she
Mm.
had when she was a teenager. So
Mm.
like your creativity is up, and
Mhm.
your desire for change is up, and then the things that you've been sitting on for all your years, whether it's marriage or career or mothering or
Mhm.
something, that just it doesn't satisfy the same way.
Mhm.
And so a lot of women, just kind of swallow that and become sick, because they're not expressing that because they don't want to shake things up. But I'm a shaker. I'm a Scorpio. Like what's in here, let it out. And over the years, I've learned how to let it out healthier.
Mm.
Um, so yeah,
Mm.
I just I want to be golden. That's one of the things I said last year. There were just moments where I just felt like so pure and so full.
Mhm.
And I said, I want my life to be this.
Mhm.
And I guess the challenge is it's not necessarily a challenge, but also part of the goal is to be golden where I am, to be golden
Mhm.
in Maryland. And I
Mhm.
definitely do have that.
Mm.
I do. My life is wonderful there. I have
Mm.
awesome friends. I love my home. I got great work and great, colleagues. Just,
Mhm.
very, very blessed. And
Mhm.
I'm so grateful for all of that.
Mm.
Um, but
Mm.
this time I just wanted to be grateful and golden over here.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
So your work, remind me, are you on a break from work?
So I'm self-employed. So I'm a
Okay.
freelance a freelance culinary educator.
Oh, that's your
Um,
job. Okay, okay, okay.
yeah, yeah. So I used to work for at one point I worked for the food bank, and then I worked for a farmers market for 4 years, and wrote a cookbook, and
Mm.
did some a lot of promotion around that. But really my gig is about eating well on a budget,
Mhm.
because when I was in Paraguay, um I was in the poorest part of the country,
Mhm.
and I was really looking at how that life impacted the women there and seeing how they managed. And I thought, well, if this is life for women who are low income here, what's it like for women in my own country?
Mhm.
Not thinking that one day I would be one of those women.
Mhm.
So when Valentine and I got married, we decided to have a kid right away, and for me to stay home and be homemaker. And he wasn't earning very much. He was an immigrant, and really stressful. But what was most important to me during that time was that I fed us well with the resources that we had, and eventually I was able to make that into like my career, my profession.
Mm.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, yeah, if
super.
you can send me links to your work, I will include them in the description so people can find you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. I'm so happy that I reached out to you and asked if you would come and jump on a chat because this is just so beautiful to see you just building the road ahead of you as you walk. I love it. I'm a
Yeah.
planner, so I love seeing people being more improvisational with their life and their travel, and I love this. So I'm so
Yeah.
happy to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. So
Yeah.
where are you planning on going? Are you traveling this summer? This year?
I'm making plans. I'm applying for house sits, and I'm not on Woof or Workaway, but if
Mhm.
the house sits don't come fast enough, I might do a Workaway or something, apply for a
Oh,
Workaway or something like that. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm also looking at like Portugal, Italy, Greece,
Mm-hmm.
someplace where I can be near the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things too with Workaway is that, and with Woofing too, but Workaway really specifically promotes that the hosts are comfortable hosting digital nomads.
Mhm.
So if you're doing your 4 hours, whatever it might be, then you have time to work if you're
Mhm.
still working and traveling.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out the balance between working and getting some me time and rest time and woof time if I do that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
The Workaway I'm doing next month. She said, "Okay, I'll need you between 9 and 1, and then
Mhm.
we'll hang out, or you can go wander around or whatever." So now I
Mhm.
know what's set.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then with trusted house sitters, yeah, that's I love trusted house sitters because that time is your own.
Yeah.
And I love, it's amazing that Lucy connected me with her friends because then from those
Yeah.
people I met other people.
Mhm.
So now they're my friends too.
Mhm.
um, but the only thing I didn't like about about house sitting was that if you're there to pick up the language, you're not immersed in it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're working, woofing, or work away, you're
Mhm.
in that language. You hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Mm-hmm.
offered a house sit in Portugal for this summer that I
Mm-hmm.
turned down because it was too isolated. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that I wanted to be, you know, in a place, that's beautiful by myself, with a dog. But I realized, like, uh, I realized I need more social connection after having been, after 2 years of social
Mm-hmm.
isolation and disconnection. I really want to be in a place where I can at least, have some kind of social connection with folks. That's going to be important
Yeah.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of them are a little isolated.
Mhm.
Like some of them will say, "Oh, you need a car."
Yeah.
It's not
Yep.
quite close enough to be able to walk to town or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. The world's amazing. There's so many opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is like now we have Zoom. So every
Yeah.
night he and I WhatsApp. So
Okay.
it's better
Yeah.
than, not having any contact at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he goes home to Paraguay once a year.
Mhm.
So he's gonna go, and I just
Mm.
encourage him, like, just go and stay for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm
Yeah.
doing this for myself, do that for yourself.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
he's just one of those super good guys. He's like, no, my job is to take care of my family and work.
Mm.
So
That's
I'm like, okay, I
nice.
want to go have fun.
Well, he
Yeah.
sounds like a keeper.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Despite not being very fun, he's great. Yeah, I mean, he does everything. I said he's like everything I wanted in a guy kind of rolled into one because he's
Mm.
a farmer.
Mm.
He grew
Handyman.
up on a ranch, so he knows how to handle. He's a cowboy. He's a
Oh, cool.
carpenter. He's a craftsman.
You had
I
me at
did a
carpenter.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I got my honeydew list. I did a cooking demonstration recently that was videotaped, and people were saying, "Where'd you get that knife?" And I said, "Oh, my husband made it out of a shovel and a deer horn."
What?
Yeah, yeah, he's pretty great, great guy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
That's next level. That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, get your ass back home sometime.
I know. Well, my friend is saying is like, well, if you're gonna be out there, go to Africa. Why aren't you going to Africa? And I kind of feel like that's a whole different scene.
Mhm.
I mean, I did. actually start looking like, okay, well, if I'm in Turkey,
Mhm.
and I go over here to Greece, it is just a little short hop across the water to the
Mhm.
motherland,
Mhm.
you know.
Yep.
I kind of, like I said, I have to see kind of where my feet and my desires take me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you could find a good goat situation in somewhere on the continent.
Yeah.
To be
Funny.
continued.
Yeah, to be continued. Yeah, the
Right.
Southern Hemisphere edition, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Funny.
Well, Juju, I will at some point see you in person,
Yes.
one on one of these continents. But I'm
Yeah.
so
Yeah, for
thank you so
sure.
much.
Oh, my pleasure, for sure. If if you're gonna be in Italy before the end of July, we can try and figure out a way to meet. But thank you so much for reaching out to me and inviting me.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much and have a wonderful time with your goats and your goat herd and your friends.
Yeah, no, I'm having the
Yeah.
time of my
And
life. It's
yep.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Thank
golden.
you. You're
Golden.
golden.
Living my life like it's golden.
You're
Yep.
golden.
Yeah.
Oh. All
All
right.
right.
Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
evening. Take
You
care.
too, hon. Take
Okay.
care. Bye bye.
Bye.